It's time for another installment of Flashpoint. This week, Eric Von Aken talks with Titusville Police on how the department is getting crime results with a high-tech facial forensics program.
Good morning to you. I'm Eric Von Aken. Thanks for joining us on Flashpoint. We have seen them for years. Artist sketches of wanted criminals, right? But now one company is adding a high-tech twist, and it is proving to get crime results. My guest this morning on Flashpoint is Chief John Lau of the Titusville PD. Thanks for being here, Chief.
Oh, thanks for having us.
First question, this FaceLogics software, what exactly is it and how does it work?
Well, the company's name is FaceLogics,
okay.
And it was started by a law enforcement officer from up in St. Johns County. And really what it does is it breaks down the description of, in the past, you get a sketch artist that would come out.
Okay, by hand.
By hand. And this, we actually put the victim on the phone, so law enforcement's not involved. Just like when you're kids, the game of telephone, the more people involved in delivering a message, the more likely
the story changes.
Is going to be a little distorted. So their results are just been phenomenal for us.
So you're saying it's a computer that generates the picture at the end of the process, but the input is human.
That is correct. So we literally put our victims on the phone and they speak with a representative from FaceLogics, and that description is then put into their computer. How they do that, that's on them. However, the finished result is sent back to us within 35, 40 minutes. So,
really?
Yes.
Faster than traditional sketches?
Yes, and time, when you're talking about solving a crime, time is absolutely imperative.
Sure. So you still have the human element. I mean, obviously you have to, because it's a person developing a picture, a face, based on what that person is hearing.
That is correct.
Wow. Is this mainly a local thing? How big is this?
Right now, my knowledge is they're just in Florida, but just like any other company, they start out smaller and then they grow into it. We started off very, you buy into whether it's an unlimited source or how many contacts a month. So we started with the minimal just to try it out, and we had immediate results. So now we are on you pay a monthly charge, and we have unlimited sources.
What does a victim say when you say, would you please pick up the phone and call this person on the other end of the line who's going to draw a sketch by computer? How does that go over?
It goes over very well. And again, historically, we have to get a hold of a police sketch artist. That could be days later. We're able to do it while we're on scene, right then and there, when it's fresh in their memory. So that's another reason why the results are been very positive.
You're telling me that potentially within minutes after a crime occurs, you can get a sketch? Minutes? Half hour?
Yes, sir. Yes,
and this is interesting because in some of the stories that we cover, the crime stories, it takes days. I mean, often we wait for a sketch because, of course, we want to put it out there to try and catch this guy, to help catch this guy. It's sometimes 3, 4, 5 days, sometimes a week later until we get the sketch.
That is correct. I mean, this is really, it's just utilizing technology, and what we used to have to do as law enforcement, basically, it's been privatized. So we're going to this company who is made up of all law enforcement officers, and so they understand what we need and when we need it. So it's been terrific.
Now, Chief, you say it gets results. We want to see what this looks like, and we have pictures side by side between someone who was actually caught and a sketch that you did. We're going to see those pictures right after the break, and we're also going to talk about how it is getting results for you, how well this is working. Chief John Lau of the Titusville PD right after the break continues here on Flashpoint. Welcome back to Flashpoint this morning. I'm Eric Von Aken with Titusville Police Chief John Lau. Again, thanks for being here. We're talking about FaceLogics. It's a software, Chief, that you use to generate composite sketches of crooks within minutes, you're saying, as compared to sketching it out by hand. Before the break, we were talking about how effective this is. You say it is getting crime results. You brought pictures. We have a picture side by side of a suspect that you picked up and the sketch. Here it is, Chief. I mean, it's almost identical. I got to say that. Tell me about this.
Well, it was an armed robbery that we worked, and the victim was able to get on the phone and speak to one of the FaceLogics representatives, and that sketch was sent to us, emailed to detectives in 45 minutes.
This happened by getting a victim on the phone with the people from the company, describing to an artist, I guess, on the other end of the phone, this person's face.
Yes, sir. And it was done literally just about an hour or two after the crime, so it was very fresh in the victim's mind. So that sketch went to detectives. That then was emailed to all of our sworn officers in and around the surrounding area, and it was one of the road officers that went by and saw someone walking down the street and said, "My God, it looks just like the."
And we often wonder when there are composite sketches generated, how much is it that you just have a good lead on a suspect and you're following the lead, and the sketch happens to be also going along with the investigation, as opposed to the sketch being the primary break in the case? Well, it sounds like it was that in this case.
Yeah, it was the primary break. It was the officer, one of the patrol officers, was driving down the street and saw someone, was able to do a field interrogation card, just, hey, how you doing, who are you, what's going on, and then that person was put into a photo array and immediately was picked out by the victim.
It's incredible how nearly identical those two pictures are. Typically, so in this case it was, but typically is it more accurate, just as accurate as someone sketching it by hand?
Hey, there's a lot of great artists that have done well. I guess where this is advantageous for law enforcement over an artist is the speed of when it's done, and sometimes an artist could be days later, a week later, in order to meet and set that up. You're able to do this on the phone. They're up in St. Johns County and spitting out the pictures within an hour. That's where it is, and it's all about resources.
And you said this, that there are some great artists out there. In fact, the Orange County Sheriff's Office has one. They used to have one named Fusco. That's how he would sign his composite sketches, and he was dead on.
Yes.
The difference was, as you pointed out, the time frame here. Yes. Does it make it easier, you think, on the victims to be able to get through this process faster?
Absolutely, I believe. I mean, they're able to, while it's fresh in their mind, they're able to get on the phone and describe exactly what they saw.
You were telling me earlier that off camera that this saves the department money. I know taxpayers like that.
Yes.
You're using less resources when you're using this software. Tell me about that.
Well, it's not just the composite sketch that FaceLogics does. They also do photo arrays. So historically, if we generate a suspect and we want to make a lineup, usually it's a 6-person lineup, and we show it to that victim, that takes time for the detective to have to figure out. You have to get folks that look very similar, have similar features, because someone could have a tattoo on their face, and if you don't have 6 pictures with tattoos, it's a bias lineup. Okay, so where it's not going to hold up in court.
So you'd have to find 6 different real people who look similar. That could take days.
The detectives are really good at it, but what this does, FaceLogics, we give the suspect's name, so if they can't find somebody that has similar markings, they can computer generate it on all 6, so that you're just looking at the features, the nose, the eyes, what we want the victims to look at, and it's held up in court. They're also recognized experts in court, so FaceLogics testifies in these cases.
Wow.
So it takes a lot of resources that used to be burning up into the cities and sheriff's departments. It takes it out of our hands, puts it onto FaceLogics, and they also take the liability with it too. They will describe how they made this photo array.
Wow, from start to finish,
Yes,
they
sir.
follow through.
Yes.
And it sounds like this technology, there's so many different applicable uses here. I mean, it doesn't just stop with the photo lineups or
That's correct.
The composite sketch. Chief, thank you. One of the things that we talked about with your department, I'm actually going to try this in the coming weeks in my Getting Crime Results segment right here on News 6. We're going to have one of the artists over the phone. I'm going to, or someone's going to describe me to the artist, and that artist is going to generate a sketch to see how well this works. Again, computer generated versus drawing it by hand. So look for that right here on News 6. Again, Getting Crime Results every Wednesday. But for now, Chief John Lau from the Titusville PD, again, very innovative. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Can't wait to see how this continues to work over the next coming year.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for joining us this morning on Flashpoint. I'm Eric Von Anken.